Hello, my name is Colby Swope and my topic was solar panels on farms. Many times when we hear the terms solar energy or solar panels, we immediately associate them with costing a bunch of money. However, that's not completely true. Yes, some prices are expensive to install and start up these panels, but the payoff in the years to come will only reveal it as an investment. In the long run, it's going to save farmers money and the environment from emissions. In the next couple slides, we're going to talk about the benefits, limitations, and policies regarding solar panels on farms. Now we are going to discuss a few benefits that go along with solar panels. The first being that it is a renewable energy source. As long as we have the sun, we cannot run out of solar energy like we can other sources of energy. Secondly, this reduces electricity bills. This is an investment. It will be a pretty penny to start up, but will overall reduce the amount you pay for electricity or heat usage. Also, if you generate more electricity than you use, the surplus will be exported back to the grid, and you could potentially receive bonus payments for that amount. That is, if the farmer is connected to the grid. Third, there is diverse applications for solar panels. They could be used for electricity, heat, water, and we're going to talk about a couple other uses. There are low maintenance costs. The only maintenance really required is to keep them clean, which is only needed a few times a year. There aren't really any moving parts, so there's no daily wear and tear. The only thing that may ever need to be changed, typically every 10 to 15 years, is the inverter, which just allows the panels to be angled towards the sun. They typically change it for the fall and the winter, and then again for the spring summer season, so only twice a year. And maybe the cables may need to be checked to make sure they're running at maximum efficiency, but that's not something that needs to be performed very frequently. And lastly, it's a technology development. There's constant advancements and improvements happening, so there's great potential in increasing the effectiveness of solar panels over time. By using solar energy, agriculture has the potential to significantly reduce the use of gasoline, diesel, natural gas, electricity, and wood. In most cases, these uses, such as gasoline or diesel, are expensive and these prices have dramatically increased over the years, so this poses as a great opportunity for solar energy to be used. Emissions are influenced by the types of energy used for farm production in each region, which opens the door for potential solar energy. The graph shows the geographic distribution of carbon dioxide emissions from direct energy use in agriculture. This shows a strong correlation between production and energy use. So it's just saying that states with higher agriculture production use the most energy and therefore they have the highest carbon dioxide emissions. There are a number of solar applications available for farms that go beyond just lighting the facility. Solar energy could be used for electrical fencing, water pumping, pond aeration, gate opening, ventilation, battery charging, the list goes on. The top image displays ventilation. The typical cost for solar powered would be $200 to $500 per CFM, which is cubic feet per minute. The bottom image displays a solar fence and charger pictured. The typical cost would be $100 to $400, which would not include the grounding rods or wiring supplies. So as you can see, these may seem as a high price at the beginning, but the payoff is great. Now we are going to discuss some limitations that some farmers may run into if they are pursuing solar energy. First is financing. The initial cost of purchasing a solar system is fairly high. So a farmer may not have the money or the ability to get a loan or a grant depending on their situation. The average cost of a watt is $1, and a megawatt would equal about $1 million, which has the potential to power 200 households, to put that into perspective. Secondly, it takes up space. The more electricity you want to produce, the more solar panels you will need to collect as much sunlight as possible. This requires space, and some barn roofs are not big enough to fit the number of panels that are needed. They also need to access sunlight, so they can't be blocked by trees or buildings or silos. Third, it's weather dependent. Solar energy can still be collected when it's cloudy or rainy outside. However, the efficiency of that collection is decreased. Solar energy can also not be collected at night, so thermodynamic panels may be an alternative to consider if you want these panels to be a water heating solution so they can work at night and during the winter time for you. They are also expensive. The energy collected can be used or stored. It's usually stored in batteries, which can be used during the night, and those batteries of storage can be expensive. Lastly, we are going to talk about policies regarding solar energy. A number of policies and programs that promote solar energy adoption are available for farmers and ranchers, and here are a few that are listed. First, we have the Federal Investment Tax Credit, also known as ITC. This, of course, is on the federal level, which assists in propelling many solar installations. Farmers have been able to use the corporate if they do meet the standards. This overall will reduce their tax liability. Secondly, we have the Renewable Portfolio Standard, also known as RPS. This is on the state level. It's one of the most important drivers for promoting renewable energy. It imposes a minimum amount of renewable energy generation or capacity that electricity providers must meet, propelling them to support the installation of energy systems. Third, we have public benefit fund policies. This is a way to finance renewable energy. It offers stable, long-run funding to provide security for these investments. Fourth, we have interconnection policies. Farmers interested in generating their own electricity must first apply to interconnect to the system. They have to pass a series of standards, and that's important for the stability of the system. This could pose as a possible barrier to entry for farmers. There are also two programs that were also listed. One was the Renewable Energy Systems and Energy Efficiency Improvement Program. They provide support for solar energy installations that are in operation. Secondly, there's the Rural Energy for America program, also known as REAP. They provide grants and loan guarantees for energy systems to qualified farms and businesses. These grants can cover up to 25% of solar energy system costs. The minimum per project is $2,500 and the maximum is $500,000. Another source of potential funding for farmers that can be used for solar energy systems is the USDA's Value Added Producer Grants. These grants are used for planning activities and working capital in marketing value-added agriculture products and farm-based renewable energy. Solar energy projects have also been funded through Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education, also known as SARE, which is supported by the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture. Through SARE, they have provided competitive grants for sustainable agriculture research and education. Today, through the SARE, farmers can apply for grants that typically run between $500 and $15,000. Another thing to consider is the equipment certification and contractor licensing. These will potentially reduce performance risks that farmers may face. They guarantee that contractors have experience and knowledge for proper installation and maintenance of renewable energy systems. Earlier, we discussed whether a farmer would decide to connect to the grid or not, and there is actually a policy in place that could aid in the farmer's decision making. It's called the Line Extension Analysis Policy. It's a policy that helps farmers determine when it might be less expensive to build an on-site renewable energy system instead of connecting to the grid to meet their electricity needs for their certain application. Also, net metering could be used on the farm. Net metering allows farmers with personal electricity generating systems to direct excess electricity into the grid and use the electrical grid as a backup. However, farmers who have solar energy systems tied to the grid but are not offered net metering are eligible for net purchase and sale, which offers a much lower return. It just depends on what their state mandates. Lastly, solar energy systems in agriculture vary by application size and energy type. And I hope by this video you're able to identify those uses and maybe figure out in the future what a potential farmer could use.